Are you looking to improve your golf game in 2025? Look no further than Golf by Gun. Golf by Gun specializes in individual lessons, small group sessions for 2 to 3 people, and even corporate events to enhance your networking skills on the green. In addition, couples golf lessons are a perfect way to bond with your partner while mastering your swings together. Here's an exclusive offer for our listeners. If you mention Chiefs Central, you will get $10 off your first lesson. That's right, $10 off your first lesson. Take your game to new heights and enjoy the sport you love even more. Follow Golf by Gun on Instagram and Facebook for tips and updates, or reach out via email at golfbygun@gmail.com. See you on the course.
Howdy, how are you doing on this fine Tuesday afternoon?
We won't even get into it.
Oh, we're right on.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We could just get right into hockey talk. I'm good with that.
Yeah, let's do that. That might cheer me up a little bit.
All right. What a crazy weekend, huh? For these boys.
Bizarre. What lot? Well, we had the emergency podcast, and then that obviously was wild and crazy, and then we got to actually see the so-called new Chiefs, new team in action against the top-ranked team in WHL.
Yeah, I thought for the most part, pretty good game overall. Chiefs played good.
It was a good game.
Everett's goalie, Jesse Sanchez, played fantastic and shut us down. Top line, the line that we kind of predicted would be together with Van Olm, Catton, and Crystal. I thought they played well. They showed up well. Just Everett was playing very, very good defense.
Remember what I said to you during that game too? I said, well, shades of Dustin Wolf. They've always had a goalie that can just seem to stop us from scoring.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's always been that way. And I felt like we kind of broke through in the second period and got a couple of goals pretty quickly, but no matter what we threw on net, it seemed like it was mostly just getting stopped and going back the other way. And
he played good.
Yeah, he made like 43 saves, kind of shut our top line down, and I think that that's a potential Western Conference final matchup here in the playoffs this year. So we beat them this year once already, so we're 1-1 right now. So it's
and a positive that I took out of that game. I mean, you think about Everett teams in the last 10 years. I know they're new management and all that stuff too, but you think about the last couple of years, they've always had defense that kind of stifles you in the neutral zone. To get 43 shots on goal against them says a lot about the composition of our team.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like that was kind of the main reason why we didn't get any power play goals in that game, was because Everett's defense was, shutting us down in the neutral zone, or if we got it into the zone, they're blocking shots left and right, getting the puck out. Like I agreed that the fact that we had 45 shots on goal in the game is impressive when you take that into account.
Yeah, because Everett's known for that neutral zone D that doesn't get you many shot attempts, let alone shots to get through.
I mean, what a first debut game for Crystal in a Chiefs jersey against the number one team in the WHL too. And and I thought that, he looked well out there. Him and Catton were really clicking. They have some natural chemistry. It's kind of the same kind of thing that I was talking about with like Preston and Catton at the start of the season. It's like they're such good players that they just have that natural chemistry and could find each other wherever. I mean, they're throwing these ridiculous cross ice passes and it's just landing on the other guy's tape.
Yeah.
And I noticed that 3 or 4 times in that game.
I'm sure it's fun for those guys.
Yeah, for sure. Van Olm's there to reap the benefits too on that top line. So
yeah, no, he fits right in. He's a skilled player too, obviously.
But yeah, Landon DuPont for Everett. I mean, 15-year-old kid, exceptional status, second ever WHLer to get exceptional status, and he plays in our division. So he gets Everett on the board early in the first period. About halfway through the first period, and then take that into the intermission. Chiefs come out really hot, start the second period in the first 3 minutes and 15 seconds, pick up a pair of goals from Mathis Preston and Cohen Harris. And the Chiefs had a 2-1 lead for most of that second period. And it was a pretty tight game, tight defensive game. Cowan made some huge saves. Defense played pretty well, I think. We kept Everett to 31 shots in the game too, so I think
We
that that's
we
another positive.
we commented to each other. It felt like we're watching a playoff game,
Yeah, it felt like that. Like the hype was just like that from the start, and then
and it wasn't going to be a
just
blowout. There weren't going to be a lot of goals. Yeah,
no, and just with the way that the game, progressed over time, it was like, yeah, this. I think I texted you at one point and said like I get in like the nervous
chill.
anxiety
Yeah,
feeling
you
for
were.
like
Yeah,
like you get in a playoff game, and it's like
yeah,
it had that vibe to it, and like I said, that could definitely be a playoff matchup. So I think that that's something that the Chiefs got to take out of the loss in a positive way is the fact that it was a close game. It was a 3-2 game up until they scored the empty netter at the end of the game. It could have gone
yeah,
either way. You've
yeah,
already beaten them once. I mean, it's just great competitive hockey both
yeah.
times we played Everett this season. I still think that, I was a little bit concerned with the 0 for 8 on the power play in that game. Coming in being the top ranked power play unit in the league.
Mhm.
I mean, I know, you just got Berkeley Catton back from the World Juniors, and then you add Crystal into the mix, so he's going to be on that top power play unit as well. So obviously, you're going to need a little bit of time to kind of learn the system and learn how everything's run and get back kind of into the groove of things if you're Catton and stuff like that too. So I'm not surprised. I think we had some good looks on the power play. Just once again, we just ran into a really hot goalie.
Yeah.
Um, 3 for 3 on the penalty kill though, so I think the Chiefs are sitting at second penalty kill in the league right now too.
Hmm.
So that's a positive to take out of that. But overall, it was just a tight back and forth game that
It
could
was
have
a good
gone
hockey
either
game. Yeah,
way. The Chiefs outshot them 45-31, and if it weren't for Jesse Sancha net for Everett, we could have easily won that game 6-3.
yeah, exactly. What
So
was your overall impression for the second time now getting to see Landon Dupont?
I mean, that kid's his numbers speak for itself,
They do, but even just
but
seeing him on the ice,
just watching him out there, and he doesn't look like a 15-year-old.
no,
He's confident as hell. I feel like I don't know, he's not how most 15, 16-year-olds look in this league. He's just different, and that's probably what, gets him that exceptional status. He's already
right?
got double digit goals, 31 assists or whatever right now as a 15-year-old in the WHL is bonkers.
Yeah, no, I watching him out there, I felt like I was watching a 19-year-old defenseman.
He's in the perfect spot everywhere he needs to be all
Yeah,
the time. Offensively gifted as well, so that's
yeah,
another huge thing to take into
yeah.
account.
No,
Um,
I was impressed every time he had the puck. It's like, oh, there he is again. There he is again. I mean, it's like he reminded me of like a 17-year-old Ty Smith. Like he
yeah,
paid his dues already, and he's getting comfortable and very confident. But here, this kid's doing it at 15.
yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's a really
Yeah,
impressive, and it goes to show that these kids are just getting better and better at a younger
yeah.
age
There'll
as
be
the
more
years
in
go
the
on.
future, for sure.
I think that, well, there's already rumors of, I don't know if it's next year or the year after. There's another kid that's coming up in Western Canada that's potentially going to be looking at getting that exceptional status for the WHL too.
Wow.
I think his name is Maddox Schultz or something. He's a forward, but so that's another guy that could be coming up here pretty soon. There's only been, a handful of exceptional status players in the CHL, and
Yeah,
Connor Bedard was the first one in the Western League, and now you have Landon Dupont too, and then this guy potentially coming in. So, like I said, it's just players are just getting better and better at a younger age.
absolutely.
But I will say that not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday we get to see Landon Dupont in the arena for the
Yeah,
first time. So it'll be interesting to watch him in person too, kind of see if it's similar to watching it online, or if it's even, I'm sure it's going to be even more impressive watching it in person.
I sure it will be. Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so I think my main takeaway from that whole game is just like, got to capitalize on the power play. We have 8 chances to Everett's 3 in the game. Everett was pretty undisciplined, and we could have taken advantage of that if we could have gotten the puck behind Jesse Sanch. Got to take advantage of that, and yeah, especially when you have we had 2 5-on-3s in that game. So like, if you're not scoring on 5-on-3s, that's a problem.
yeah.
And so I think that's probably my main takeaway. Other than that, I thought the boys honestly looked pretty good. I don't think
Did
there was really any rust or anything. Cowan made 30 saves still, and or 20 whatever saves, 28 saves, and forward lines look good. I thought even the fourth line. Before that game, the Chiefs reassigned forwards Matthew Edwards and Dane Pyatt to
Mhm.
junior A teams. Dane Pyatt, they said just because he got injured so early in the season, they want
Yeah.
him to be able to have consistent playing time and everything for his development and stuff.
Hmm.
And so I'm sure he'll be back up with the team at some
I would.
point this year or next year. Matt Edwards, kind of a veteran guy that had been in and out of the lineup for most of the season, so it's good that he's going down. He's going to play consistent minutes too
Yeah.
somewhere. They both remain on our protected list though, so if we need a call up or something, those are two guys that we have available and
Yeah.
they're eligible to play full time. I'm 90% sure about that, but so that put us just missing two or three guys that have to be scratched every night with Owen Martin still out with his injury right now. Boyle said on the radio that it sounds like he's getting close to coming back here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So that'll be another guy that will be nice to get back in the lineup. But yeah, I was looking at the weekly report today, and they still have Martin marked as week to week. So it could be, I mean, I've seen week to weeks turn into, oh, he's in the lineup tomorrow or,
Right.
month to month. You never know. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's good to see that he's back down to week at least. Um, and man, how about Saturday night in Wenatchee?
How much fun was that to watch?
It was, I mean, that's what I expected. I shouldn't say I expected it against Everett because I didn't, but like that's what I expect from these three guys together on the top
No. Yeah.
line. I mean, you have guys with the skill level of Andrew Crystal and Berkeley Catton together, and then you have, the league's leading scorer and goal scorer in Van Olm up there with
Yeah.
you too. That top line's gonna put up numbers. And I'll tell you what, this game against Wenatchee, they put up numbers.
Yes, they did.
19 total points combined between those three guys in that game.
That's bananas.
First time I think the Chiefs have scored 12 goals in a game since like the late 90s or something
Yeah.
like that.
It was.
Just
Yeah.
some ridiculous amount. Like Andrew Crystal, 3 goals, 4 assists, and a +4 for 7 points. Shea
What?
Van Olm, 3 goals, 2 assists, +4. And Berkeley Catton with a goal and 6 assists, also a +4.
Yeah. Pretty nice.
19 total points combined between those three players.
Two guys with hatties.
Insane.
Yeah.
Just insane. And that performance that put Andrew Crystal leading the entire WHL in scoring. He's currently the leading goal scorer, and then Van Olm's like third right now total too. So
Yeah.
he's they're right there still
That's crazy.
keeping themselves in the race. Crystal scored. I mean, it was all Chiefs. I mean, Wenatchee was just nowhere to be found in that game. I don't even know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was floored watching that first line out there.
Seemed like every time they put the puck on net, it went in.
No, for real. And yeah, absolutely. And I felt bad for Brendan G too. Their Wenatchee's goalie.
Yeah.
Because, these guys are going to be in the NHL in a few years, and they're just out here picking your corners left and right. It's like you don't have a chance.
No.
But I was watching the game and talking to some buddies on Xbox. We were in a little chat, and I just kept saying like, God damn, it feels good to be on the other side of this. I forgot how good it feels to not be the punching bag in that situation,
No kidding. I hadn't thought about that.
So I was just floored. And like I was saying the night before, going 0 for 8 in the power play, we needed to work on that power play. They worked on that power play, or they figured something out because the Chiefs were 5 for 6 on the power play in Wenatchee.
Good way to follow up an over 8 night, huh?
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
5 for 6 is unreal.
Yeah.
I haven't seen as many people talking about that should be talking about that because that's insane.
Yes, it is.
And they only outshot Wenatchee 36-33 on the night too. I mean, it was a, like you said, every time we shot it went in.
Yeah. How about 1/3 of your shots going in?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. And
Your goal, your goalie having a 66% save percentage.
yeah, Carter Essler played pretty well in net too for us, I would
Yeah,
say.
he did. He did.
It was good to see him back out there, but I mean, it was just the Chiefs did not let off the gas pedal all night. Um, Scored 3 goals in the first period. Crystal Van Olm and Sam Oremba picked up a goal late in the first period, and then Wenatchee got one back about 30 seconds left in the period, so it was 3-1 going into the second or the first intermission. And then
And at that point, I thought, hey, this is going to be a decent game.
quite a bit of scoring
Yeah, in the
from the
second.
Chiefs in the second
Yeah,
period. Van Olm gets his second. Coco Armstrong picks up his third of the year, scoring machine lately as well.
yes,
The
he
nice
is.
little tip of a Nathan Mays shot at the point.
Keep going.
Um, Berkeley Catton picked up his lone goal of the night about halfway through the second period, and then 9 seconds later, Lucas Sherbina, the former Chief, comes down for Wenatchee and gets Wenatchee on the
That's a
board
nice
for
shot.
their second goal. We're gonna regret that trade in the future.
Yeah, you keep
Kids,
saying it.
that kid's good. That
Yeah, yeah.
kid's really good. Um, and then so at that point it was 6-2. Late in the second period, the Chiefs pick up a couple more goals on the power play. Um, right after Sherbina scored, he got behind. We were on the power play, and he got behind the defense and went in on a breakaway. Kind of cut toward the net, and just kind of an awkward angle. Just ran into Carter Essler, knocked him down. Ref's hand went up, so it was going to be a 5-on-3 for like a minute 40 or something like that. And then they ended up reviewing it and calling it a 5-minute major. Which, in all honesty, I did you see that
Yeah,
hit?
yeah.
I don't. I mean, I understand that they're saying there was head contact with Essler,
Yes,
but I don't think that was worthy of a 5 minute.
I don't.
Definitely a two, without a
Yeah,
doubt, a
oh, it's a
two.
penalty. Yeah,
He could have avoided it altogether, but that's not worthy of a five. And I'm definitely one of those guys that's going to say that was he should still be in the game.
I
But
agree.
nonetheless, Chiefs had a 5-on-3 for a minute 40 seconds, and then an additional like 2.5 minutes going into the third period on the power play, scoring twice at the end of the second period. Andrew Crystal, Sam Oremba picks up his second goal of the night. And then again, third period, all Chiefs. Just, I mean, it's what 8-2 going
Hmm.
into the second intermission. 43 seconds into the third period, Smith Redmond scores on that 5 minute power play. Shea Van Olm gets his hat trick about a minute later. And then 5 minutes later, Andrew Crystal gets his hat trick. And late in the game, Sarkey getting on the board again as well,
Hand, hands.
making it a 12-2 game at that point. And I mean, what a game.
Yeah,
One of the most complete games these guys have played all season.
it was fun to watch.
I mean, it's just that top line is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah,
I do want to say that I don't know if they should have that line together all the time because, like, kind of like we were talking about with like what McDavid and Draisaitl do in Edmonton, where they're on separate lines, just put them together here and there when they need like a goal or two in succession or whatever. But I think, especially if you're playing good teams like, PG, Everett, Portland, they're going to be keying up on those guys and they're going to be playing their top lines against those guys. And they're going to be playing them really tough, especially
yeah.
if they're really good teams. I think you might want to mix that up a little bit here and there, but putting them together and seeing them put together 19 points like that, you got to run it at least for the next couple of games. I mean, we got some big games coming up here.
Yeah, yeah. I can see it be one of those things where you put that line together at home and make the other team have to match you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then when you're on the road, when you're trying to match their lines and stuff too, you're kind of mixing it up a little bit more on the road.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, just so much offensive output from the team there on Saturday night. Sarkey had a goal. Let's see, Chase Harrington had an assist. McIsaac with an assist. Smith Redmond with a goal. Cohen Harris had an assist. I mean, just points to go around. Nathan Mays with 2 assists. Braden Crampton with 3 assists. Um, a handful of guys +4, +3. Preston 2 assists. I mean, just those guys getting those amount of points in that game, that doesn't mean that the other guys weren't contributing too. I mean, our second line contributed for 3 goals. Our third line contributed for a goal. Defense was contributing offensively. So I think all around it's a really, really good game. from the Chiefs, and really looking forward to tomorrow in Kelowna.
Yeah.
Heading
Game of the
back
week.
up, heading back up to see Poppy.
There you go.
Yeah, Chiefs have the CHL game of the week 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So they have tomorrow in Kelowna, and then they have next week in Spokane against Everett.
Yeah.
So fun stuff.
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other night,
Yeah, we were.
and then it gets announced. That's pretty cool. Free game on YouTube for those that don't have package to watch on CHL.
The next 2 Wednesdays you'll be able to watch the Chiefs for free on YouTube. So that's pretty cool too. I think that
Yeah.
the fact that the CHL is doing that is
Me
pretty
too.
damn cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. Things got better since they went away from New Lion.
New Line, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, they use the same service that I think the AHL uses now.
Yeah.
I think isn't it through Verizon or something?
So, yeah, it's linked
Or
through.
some like phone carrier or some sort.
Yeah. It's been good, in my opinion. The only thing that's kind of funky is trying to get the right audio.
Yeah, but we found the workaround for that,
We
and
did.
it works fine. So
Yeah.
um,
Click
but
back
yeah,
between home and away announcers 3 times, and you'll get your announcers.
yeah, exactly. I see a lot of people still complaining about like the streaming service
I do
online,
too.
but
That's why I kind of made the comment.
I think it's weird. I've never had any crazy issues, and if I have had issues, it's not their fault. It's the broadcast fault.
Yeah.
So
No, I've never had a problem watching on your TV or my TV through our Apple TV.
So the trade deadline came and passed. We got our big trade with Andrew Crystal. The Chiefs did make another last minute deal, like right at the trade deadline. Picked up a 2005 goaltender Sean Coots from Vancouver in exchange for an eighth rounder in 2028. Just added another goalie to their protected list. He hasn't played a game in the WHL before, but he's having a pretty good season in the AJHL. Some quality depth at the goaltending position would be available to us should we need to bring him in, said Matt Bardsley. So, um, I don't know what that's all about. I'm not going to make any sort of speculations. Our goalies are good and
I
healthy. But we had that Ryan. Go
I
ahead.
think we're going in. It's just insurance back there in case something happens to one of our goalies.
But yeah, it's the last few years we had, guys down in the system that we could bring up if needed, but I don't think we have really any signed like 15, 16-year-old goalies right now.
Correct.
So yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't hurt. And that's an eighth rounder in 3 years. So it's not like you're giving up too much, but, so they did end up making another deal. Were you at all surprised after we made the Crystal trade that we didn't make another trade for any sort of defenseman or anything?
No, because I still think that was just you and I wishful thinking.
I don't think it was just you and I, because I mean, a lot of people agreed with us.
Yeah. Well, what I'm saying.
So
I think we were just wishfully hoping for that. So once they went away from that and got Crystal instead of what we were thinking, I thought, oh, that was the big deal and it's done.
yeah, that's true. I don't know, but again, maybe we're just gonna try to outscore everybody.
Yeah.
So
Well, worked against Wenatchee.
if your top line's putting up near 20 points a game, I think that you're kind of successful in what you're trying to go for. So definitely makes sense. The CHL mid or NHL Central Scouting midterm rankings came out today. Did you see any of that?
I did not.
3 Chiefs on the list.
Nice.
It was Owen Martin. Where is he at? Owen Martin, 69th ranked North American skater. Asanali Sarkinov, 125th ranked skater.
No way. Good. Do you think his stock went up after the World Juniors like we talked about? Or
I think so. I think that's a guy that, especially with his physical play in the World Juniors, I think that definitely kind of opened some teams' eyes to him a little bit because
I hope so.
I feel like the physical part of the game is slowly, there's less and less of these guys that'll go out and throw the body left and right and everything, as time goes on. But it's just the way the game's evolving. But having, when you find a diamond in the rough like that, that can be really valuable to a team that doesn't have stuff
you
like
and I
that.
have talked about how soft his hands are for a big guy like that.
Yeah, and that too. I mean, the kid is
when he scores, it's like, wow, did he just do that or was that somebody else?
Yeah, and then what was the other one here? Owen Shetler, 131st
Good for
ranked
him.
skater. So I think he's had himself a breakout
He's had a
season. So
great year. Yeah.
it's gonna be cool to see if he ends up getting selected this year because I think that, especially if he keeps playing at this rate the rest of the season, he's gonna be able to contribute, come playoffs and everything too. And his development's gonna be fun to watch.
I agree.
And then in addition to that, there are a couple of former Chiefs that made the list. Hayden Papanicus, 48th ranked skater in North America.
Doesn't surprise me.
Me neither. And then there's one more, Jake Goodell, former Chief, 214th
Really, good for
of
him.
North American skaters. So that's good to see. I was a little bit surprised that Cowan wasn't on the goaltenders. I know he was last year, but he ended up not getting selected. I believe in like the preseason rankings, he was on the list. So he's
Weird.
not on the list right now, which is a little bit strange. But Josh Ravensbergen from Prince George, number one, no shock there. And then Andre Stepatak from Portland is the sixth ranked goaltender. So
Nice.
got some good goaltending in our conference here too. So gonna be some fun stuff to watch ahead. But yeah, those are the three Chiefs that made the list. I saw a couple people a little bit shocked that Chase Harrington wasn't on the list, but he's not eligible until next year because he had a late birthday.
Gotcha.
Found that out earlier. In other Chiefs news, Shea Van Olm commits to Penn State
I saw
to
that.
play college hockey in the NCAA next year. So that's pretty cool that we're seeing more and more guys in the WHL committing to NCAA schools to play hockey
Hmm.
and use their scholarship and everything too. I think that's so cool that they finally are allowing that to happen. And like I
Cool.
said, it's going to make me more inclined to watch college hockey.
Oh yeah.
So, and there's a handful of guys that, or a handful of teams that have multiple guys from the WHL that are going to certain schools and everything
Hmm.
too. So it's going to be like almost like a WHL reunion tour in a couple different places.
I feel like Bowling Green's going to be a WHL All Star team.
I think there's 12 guys that have committed to Bowling Green State next
Yeah.
year.
Like, are they
And
to build a team or what?
uh, I I think it's just the Dennis Williams factor. The fact that
I
Dennis
do.
Williams is their head coach now. I mean, people saw what he did when he was in Everett. They want to go play for a guy like that.
Why wouldn't you?
And especially these Canadian kids that, saw him head coach Team Canada at the World Juniors a few years ago. They're like, well, if I have the opportunity to go play for a guy like that, I'm
Yeah.
absolutely going to do it. And I think this is going to be huge to get these guys noticed even more by professional teams, not only in North America, but in Europe and stuff too. I'm sure, they
Yeah.
can make a solid living over there.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, Shea Van Olm said he's thrilled to announce his commitment to Penn State. Very grateful for the opportunity to continue my development as a hockey player and a student. He said 6'1", 200-pound left winger leads the league in goals with 31 and 25 assists for 56 points in 39 games. So yeah, and I think his numbers are going to jump a whole hell of a lot more being on that top line with
Oh yeah.
Crystal and Catton too. Um, let's see here. In other news, Andrew Crystal named WHL Player of the Week after his
Gee, I wonder
batshit
why.
performance in Wenatchee on Saturday night. 2 games with the Chiefs, 3 goals, 4 assists, and 7 points. Second time this season he's won the award of Player of the Month or Player of the Week. And Player of the Month in November. So let's see here.
He's shooting for another January one, huh?
No kidding. Drafted 40th overall by the Washington Capitals in the second round of the 2023 NHL entry draft. Signed his entry level contract later that summer. Um, the spotlight will be on Crystal as he visits his former team in this week's Wednesday night in the dub matchup. So looking forward to that game for sure.
Oh, exactly.
I'm gonna be interested to see how Papanicus is fitting in up in Kamloops. I know he picked up an assist or two in his first game with them the other
Did
night
he?
as well, so it's good for him. Chiefs still currently sitting second overall in the Western Hockey League, only a point ahead of Prince George and Victoria. Victoria made some pretty crazy moves at the trade deadline too, and they're another team that I think is going to slowly start to sneak up on us.
Hmm.
Um, I've seen a lot of people talking online that they think that it's going to be tough to catch Everett. Obviously, they're 12 points ahead of us right now at a 35 3-3 record, but if I've seen a lot of people say that the only team that really they think can potentially do it is Spokane.
Nice.
So, I mean, we've only played Everett twice. I think we have 5 more games against them this season. So those are going to be huge matchups. That's 10 points that we could take from Everett
Hmm.
and chase them down too. So, um, yeah, Chiefs sitting with 27-14 0-0 record. Kind of crazy. We played a couple of overtime games and shootouts. We've won both of, or all of them. We
Yeah.
haven't lost any this year. We're the only team in the WHL that is yet to lose an overtime game this year.
Nice.
Another little fun stat.
It's something that we're not used to.
No, especially the shootouts. You remember,
Yes.
5 or 6 years ago, we just could not score.
Yes.
Just could not score. Uh, yeah, just crazy stuff. But really liking what I'm seeing from this team right now overall.
Oh, absolutely.
Some comments from the fan group today. Just
Nice.
got a few from a couple hours ago that we think we should chat about. Derek Williams asks us, who do we think the 20-year-olds are going to be next year? I think we talked about this recently.
We did.
I can't remember specifically. I
I
think we
think
have,
it was last week, not the emergency podcast, but the one before that.
yeah, because our 19s this year are Cowan, Sage, Oremba, Crystal, and I'm missing a very, very obvious one.
Wasn't it was Edwards, but we got rid of him, right?
Edwards, yeah.
I
And
think
then
I'd say it's just those four.
okay. So I think you'll find out what's going to go on with Crystal at least
Yeah.
at just the start of the NHL regular season next year. Probably figure out what's going to go on with him. I'm sure that he's a guy that can go play in the AHL. We have seen this in years past and even this year too, where a guy will play half a year in the AHL and then right around the trade deadline come back to the WHL to because their team's making a push for the
Hmm.
Memorial Cup or WHL Championship. Saw that with Dylan Gunther in Seattle a few years ago. Jordan Gustafson from Seattle just got traded up to Lethbridge and went from Henderson up to Lethbridge to play for the Hurricanes. So I think that that's a potential that could happen. I think maybe you could just go ahead and keep the guys that you have now with Sage. If Sage comes back, Sage is eligible to go play in the AHL next year
True.
as well. So just, hypothetically, we'll just say Sage Cowan and Oremba come back next year. And, if that happens with Crystal, you can, make a deal down the line or whatever too. But
Yeah.
yeah. And now that we got rid of Edwards, it's becoming a little bit more clear. He is still on the protected list, but I don't see that being a guy that'll come back full time next year. Um, Connor Davidson says Crystal's debut showed how difficult it will be to beat the top teams in the league, and the Wenatchee game showed what's possible. Given what we know today, would you stack the top line for the playoffs or try to get 2 high-end lines going?
I think we
Exa
already have.
Example, Oremba, Catton, Van Olm, Crystal, Ekstrom, and Preston. I like that second
I
line.
actually like that.
I really like that second line. Um,
My answer to that though is I feel like we already have two top lines. It's our
I
first line, fourth line.
yeah, God, I know. Oh, with Coco, Preston, and Harry. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we're gonna talk about your examples, instead of an Oremba on that top line, I would put a Harrington on that top line. If you're
Hmm.
gonna mix up those lines, put Harrington up there with Catton and Ulmer. I think those three could really click together. I really like that second line potential with Crystal, Ekstrom, and Preston. That's just it's
Oh, yeah.
speed mixed with a little bit of grit and physicality too. And then he also added on at the end, are you worried about the lack of physicality for a playoff run? Can Sarkinov be a Chevy light? And I think
I'm
that
not worried.
I
Go ahead.
think he has to be.
Yeah.
If we're gonna, he's got to play that role. We saw his potential to do that in the World Juniors, and I
Yeah.
think that's going to be really beneficial, especially for a deep playoff run. I mean, if you look
Hmm.
back to our last long playoff run, we had the gritty guys, Luke Smith and Caden Hannis and guys like that. Sarky's got to be that guy. He's going to have to be. We just got rid of Papanicus too, and that was another guy that was slowly
Yeah.
becoming that power forward. So what's your opinion on that?
I don't think he's going to have to be like Chevy. I feel like when we had Chevy, Chevy's all we had that did that. I feel like we have Isaac that can do that. I feel like we have Mays that can do that. I feel like we have Weinstein that can do that. I feel like Campar is that guy. I feel like we got a handful. I feel like we got like a half dozen guys that can play that role.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Yeah, our back end is pretty stacked with like the physicality. Mays and
When need be, yes.
Weinstein. Yeah, Mays and Weinstein do their job well back there with the physical play, and McIsaac too. And even the 16s, Caden Allen, he throws the body pretty well
Mm-hmm.
too. And yeah, up front, I guess I wasn't thinking about Cam Parr because he's been out sick for the last week and a half. But yeah, that's another guy that I think Cam Parr is going to be really beneficial to that a playoff run too, because
Oh,
those little, after he's the king of the after the whistle stuff.
the
So
best.
yeah, I mean, and that's every team needs that if you're going to make a playoff run too. So that's a perfect guy I think to have. Um, and then our buddy Ekstrom's dad, Par Ekstrom, made a
Nice.
comment and said how important are kind of like the depth players, the role players. He goes, they never really get talked about in media. Um, the guy that coaches put on the ice to shut down the other team's top players. Like how important are those guys?
Vitally important.
Oh,
You don't win with a team of all stars.
no,
You
and
need role players. We've talked about this before too, and he knows. I mean, I like that he posed a question for us to share too. He knows he's coached hockey. He knows you need to have a balanced lineup out there.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I talked to him about that quite a bit, about how important, those guys like a Smith Redmond or Cam Parr or Sarkinov, how important those guys are to
Mm-hmm.
the team that can do it all and just not substantially like
You
extraordinarily talented in
you
one
just don't
aspect or
you
the
don't
other.
always see it, but yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're
just an all around good player.
and they
Um,
and they disrupt the other team. That's the best part.
Yeah, exactly. I think a Smith Redmond and a Cohen Harris style player
Mm-hmm.
is the perfect kind of guy to have on a team like this where you have those superstars up front in the top two lines and your bottom six are still contributing offensively and that's part of the reason why we have second best penalty kill in the Western Hockey League right now is because of
Mm-hmm.
guys like that are, blocking shots and getting the puck out and they need to get the puck out and not, just doing stupid shit with it and turning it over in the offensive or the defensive zone. They're just getting rid of it. So I
Yeah,
think it's, yeah, like you said, it's vital.
yeah. You don't win without it.
I believe that's all that we have. Yeah, I believe that's all the questions that we have. That's pretty much all I got right now.
Nice. Did you? I know we did it on the Christmas episode. Did you have any more grievances of any kind?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So we saw 12 goals for the Chiefs in Wenatchee.
Yes.
I only saw 9 of them live because for whatever reason, Wenatchee seems to feel the need to show 3 or 4 replays of a goal about 2 minutes after it happened on the broadcast.
Way after the fact. Yes.
I missed 3 or 4 of the goals that the Chiefs scored because they were in the middle of showing a replay from, the past 2 or 3 minutes. Why? Why do you guys do that? I mean, I comment on their Facebook page, I tweet them. I'm like, can you guys like fix that? Because that's ridiculous.
It's annoying for sure.
And I mean, it's they show those replays for both home and away teams too. So it's like somebody scores, oh, and somebody goes down and scores again. It'll be nice to be able to see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Wait for a stoppage before you show the replay.
yeah, or like, don't connect the in-rink replay to the webcast. I just
No,
want to
no
watch
better. Yeah.
I just want to watch the game. I don't want to see, show the replay right after the goal. Don't show them celebrating and then like getting ready to line up for the face off. Show the replay during that time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what all other teams do. And I know Wenatchee's pretty new to the WHL and everything in their video crew. Maybe they do things differently in the BCHL or whatever, but yeah, no, you gotta fix that, Wenatchee.
Yeah. Come on. Come on, Wild. Go
Do you have
Wild.
any do you have any grievances?
Do I have any grievances? No, I don't know if it's necessarily a grievance. It's more of a commentary. How many people out there that watch our podcast actually think we know what the hell we're talking about?
No, we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Where do our thoughts and our words come from?
Just being a fan.
Just being a fan, exactly. So every once in a while, when we get hit up by somebody that says, "Well, what's your background in hockey? What do you know?" type thing, I get a little irritated with that. But again,
Yeah,
more of a commentary than a grievance.
that one, yeah, that one kind of caught me off guard the other day, but uh yeah, I mean, I guess, it's kind of our fault when we first started the podcast. We never really did like introduce ourselves or anything,
No.
like who we are and everything too, but I mean, we've been season ticket holders for 20 years now, and you've been a ticket holder even longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
You've watched these guys since they came into the league in the mid 80s, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, you've been going to games forever, and I've been going to games since I was, shitting my pants
No,
in the seat. So,
don't remind me. Yeah,
so,
when you were
uh,
falling asleep in my lap during the second period. Yeah.
well, and yeah, like I said, the comment, I feel like I'm at the point now where I have a good enough understanding of, not only just the game of hockey, but like the CHL and the junior, and like how like the process of junior hockey works, where I feel comfortable and confident in like sharing my opinion of that too. And obviously we're doing something right if we have, players listening, tuning in, and players' families tuning in, and we have a decent following on YouTube and Spotify and, in this fan group and everything. People like it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and if you don't like it, that's fine. I don't care. Like, we just do this for fun.
Yeah.
Like,
We're not getting paid, so
no, it gives me something to do, and I like talking about the Chiefs, and I like talking about hockey, and um, yeah, we're just huge diehard fans.
and let's not forget we started this podcast last year when there was not a lot of good things to talk about.
That's true. So yeah, if you go back and listen to our first few episodes and compare it to now, you'll see that there's a huge difference in our positive
Yeah.
outlook on these guys.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
those are my airings. Uh, your commentary of airings.
I
So
feel like it just needed to be addressed. We don't
so
know,
no, we don't. We don't.
but you know what? We enjoy it.
Absolutely, and it's fun. I wanted to ask, should we expect a big game from Andrew Crystal tomorrow night? Going back up
Yeah.
to Kelowna?
You think he doesn't want to perform there?
I'm sure he does, and I'm sure Hayden Papanicus is going to want to net one or two against us as well.
I hope he has a good game as well.
I think, Kelowna's a team that sold a lot of their players at the deadline to build for their run next year, and they got a pretty solid haul of returning players that are going to be contributing to their Memorial
Mm-hmm.
Cup run, as well as, a haul of draft picks for the future.
What
Um,
I'll be curious to see about trade deadline time next year, what their roster looks like.
Yeah, me too. I think it's going to be they're going to stack right back up. I think all those draft picks that they got are going to
Oh
go
yeah.
towards trading for those big name players.
Yep.
And you know what? I think that next year the Chiefs are going to be right there in the same spot this year that we are this year. I think we're going to be right up there, and we're going to be. I don't know if we're necessarily going to be making the trade for an Andrew Crystal type player again, but I could see, we're gonna make some moves to make that run. But we want to do that, especially with the Memorial Cup being 4.5 hours away from Spokane next season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that they're gonna be, obviously missing a handful of players that we had this year, but I think that we're gonna be right up there in the mix again as well. So, yeah, big tomorrow night. I'm expecting a big game. I think it's going to be a good game overall. I think both
I think
teams are
so.
going to want to perform well. So have to wait and see. And then we got our big homestand.
Yeah. Here's a big food for thought for you for just kind of popped into my head too. How different would our team look at the trade deadline had we won the Memorial Cup bid for next year?
Right. That's
Would we have made a big? We wouldn't have probably traded for a guy that most likely is not going to be here next year. But wonder what we would have done.
yeah. I don't
Something
know.
future podcast maybe to think about.
Well, and I think that we gave up a lot of those draft picks for Crystal, and I think, like you said, if we had won the bid, I don't think that move would have been made. I think those
Neither
picks would have gone toward
an 18-year-old.
getting a couple of younger guys like we
Yeah.
were talking about. Yeah, definitely. So in a way, I think that this is going to work out for us like better in the long run,
Oh, me too.
making this trade and being able to compete for the title this year and next year. I think that's going to be huge, and I think that we have the potential to make the Memorial Cup, without even
Oh, me too.
hosting it. So, and like I told you, if the Chiefs, I might just go anyways, but if the Chiefs get in anyway, I'm going to Kelowna.
Oh yeah.
I am dead on going to Kelowna. I mean, it's a 4.5 hour drive from here. That's nothing.
Yeah.
I drive 200 miles every day at work, so
There you go.
that's nothing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow night for sure.
Me too.
But other than that, that's all I got for this week.
Nice episode yet again.
Nope, we got tomorrow against Kelowna, and then Friday at home against Prince George, and Saturday against Lethbridge.
Nice.
Can
Looking
see
forward to Lethbridge.
see Billy Peters and
Billy
Cooper
Pete.
Cooper Gazowski also on the Lethbridge
Oh, that's right. I
Hurricanes.
forgot about that. Yeah. It'll be
Uh,
fun.
gonna be a fun, challenging homestand ahead. I think all four of those games on this homestand are against top tier teams in the
Yeah.
WHL with PG, Lethbridge, Everett, and Medicine Hat. So it's gonna be a fun, competitive next 5 or 6 games for sure.
Yeah.
But until next week, we'll recap the weekend and tomorrow's game and do another episode next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Till
All
then,
right. Till then, go Chiefs, go.
go Chiefs, go.